on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the StayWeighedIn podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, the legend himself, Shukari. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Late now watching UFC, but we're back in the building again, so let's go.
I'm the same with you. And you're right, we're back in the building. We're joined with special guests as well, professional boxer, 12-0, Caoimhin Agyarko. How are you, man?
I'm not too bad, thanks. I'm listening a bit tired from watching the UFC, but I'm good, thanks.
Okay, I like the fact that we're all in the same boat. We're all doing the same thing, and we're all got the same issues here where we're basically vibes. But firstly, I appreciate you obviously taking your time out to come on the pod as well, share some insights, have a conversation with us. I want to go from the present, and I want to stay in the present first before we look at the past as well. You're currently signed with Matchroom, and I want to just ask you, when you signed with Matchroom as well, how was that, and what's it like working under Eddie Hearn? Give us a little insight into that, because I guess it's one of them things that some people don't talk about, but I was wondering if you could just elaborate a bit on it.
Yeah, obviously signing with Matchroom was great for me. Obviously before that I was with Queensberry, so making the transition over to Matchroom was different. But yeah, it's been great. It's I'm enjoying being with Matchroom. I feel like Matchroom are definitely the best in the business of what they do, and yeah, it's great to be with them. Being with Eddie, obviously he believes in me, and he's given me the opportunities to go out and perform and show everyone how good I am. So yeah, it's great being with Matchroom.
And you mentioned that you are in camp right now. I guess I want to know, so is this an upcoming fight that you've got, or is it just for yourselves, just to stay healthy and fit as well?
No, yeah, I've got an upcoming fight. I can't announce it just yet, but I hope to have some news this coming week.
Okay, wait.
So I was gonna say, I know that obviously you're in camp now. Is it more of the first few weeks of camp? Is it more finding your baseline fitness, or are you someone that goes into camp maybe already doing strength and conditioning sessions beforehand, or are you the type that before camp all you're just focused on is technique and not really? Obviously, you might do your runs and whatnot, but you're not really strong on the strength and conditioning sessions just of yet.
Well, I've actually just moved gyms. I'm not too sure if you're aware.
I was going to go into that.
From London to Liverpool. So obviously this camp's completely different for me. Obviously moving to a new gym, they have their own training sessions and what they want fighters to do. So basically the first 2 weeks of camp is called the shit work, where it's literally just grafting and grinding, getting your fitness up, and then the rest of camp is focusing on obviously sparring. You're still doing your hard runs and strength conditioning, but more sort of technical side of things to kind of get you ready for the fight and a certain opponent. So yeah, thankfully the shit work finished on Friday there, because it was a tough 2 weeks. But yeah, the first 2 weeks of camp is kind of just grafting as hard as you possibly can, getting the fitness up, finding your fitness levels, and then now we're into just kind of working on the technical side of things.
Nice. I was gonna say, well, we were planning to get onto that, but since we're here, what was your obviously say as much as you would like to disclose, what was your main motivation between moving camps, and what do you say you've seen is the difference so far in regards to that, and what is it like, I guess, living wise? How do you find it going from a camp in London to Liverpool? What's the main changes for you?
Well, the main changes in London to Liverpool is London's way too busy. It's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm loving it in Liverpool. Obviously, I'm from Belfast, so Liverpool is very similar to Belfast, and it's not that far away as well. It's just across the water. So yeah, I would say that's the main difference. It's kind of similar to back home, and it's not as busy and as expensive. The reasoning for me leaving, I think I've discussed openly before, is that I just wasn't happy in London. I wasn't happy in the gym, and I felt like I needed a change. I felt like I needed more one-to-one attention, and that I've seen slight dips in my performances, whether that was because I wasn't happy or I wasn't getting the right kind of training that I needed. I'm not sure, but I'd say the main difference between the gyms is I feel like there is a lot better structure to the gym that I'm in now in terms of the sessions. There's a plan for each session. It's not the same thing every single day. So I'm loving it down here in Liverpool, and I'm enjoying it, and I feel like I'm going to be a different fighter under Joe McNally and Declan O'Rourke.
Nice.
So I do want to now talk about the early beginnings. You mentioned obviously how you grew up in Belfast. I guess to start with, what were your early boxing memories, and what do you remember that first gym that you went to, and how was it? How was that feeling when you first hit the bag?
Yeah, I mean, I started boxing when I was 7 years old, a long time ago now. But yeah, I mean, I just remember I joined a gym called Holy Trinity in Belfast. I spent 15 years there. It was my first gym and the only gym I spent in the amateurs. But my uncle used to box, so that's kind of what got me into boxing. I was kind of shown where my uncle used to box, and I just put gloves on and I never looked back. But yeah, I just remember I used to be a little fat kid, and I just loved to fight. I used to be a little angry kid, and I feel like going to the gym, I could let out a lot of anger and frustration. So I just loved getting in sparring from no age and just let my hands go.
No, I was gonna say, well, because you mentioned before that your camp was in London, that you moved to Liverpool. You was actually born in London. Well, Croydon. I know it's London politics. Some people say Croydon. South Londoners are gonna go
no
on to me.
What any of this means.
I'm actually from Burnley, so he's not too sure. I'm an East Londoner, so yeah.
So,
but I was gonna say, do you have much memory of being in London before you moved to Belfast, or is it just more of like it was just somewhere you just grew up and you, as a child, you don't really take it in?
Yeah, no, of course I have memory of growing up in London. I lived there until I was 7, like I said, and I moved back to Belfast. Obviously, I can't remember lots, but I do have memory of living there, and I never boxed before that. I had a decent childhood growing up in London, but my mum was from Belfast, and that's why we moved back.
Yeah. Okay. And then whilst you're growing up in Belfast, how did you find Belfast as a city? Like, how could you describe it to us? Because like you said, it's similar to Liverpool. So how do you like describe Belfast? I'm probably sure more friendlier than London, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because back in them times, which would have been 05, 06, I'm not too sure if you know the history of Northern Ireland and the politics and Catholics and Protestants and stuff like that. But in them times, it was freshly off the Good Friday Agreement, which if I'm right was 98 or 96. So obviously, I'm a Catholic, but a kid born in London with not English accent. Coming to live in the heart of West Belfast was very difficult and different. Just because of the politics of what went on in the country and stuff like that. But at that time, people didn't realize that I've always considered myself as Irish.
Yeah.
My mum's Irish, my family's Irish, and I was never ever considered English or British. So yeah, it was different. It was hard. I wouldn't say hard, but it was different growing up and getting used to it. Obviously, it's a lot different than London, but yeah, the people but a lot of people knew my family, so we were welcomed. The people in Belfast are friendly and kind, and they've always shown me love.
I guess this probably brings more significance why you said you want to be the first Black Irish world champion. Then, for you, I guess probably representative of all the kids that might resemble you or your position back in the day. Yeah,
definitely. I feel like I can kind of set a standard and show that no matter where you're from, that you can achieve great things. Listen, I hold great pride in being Irish, regardless of my skin color. But I understand that I can create history and become the first Black Irish world champion. And if I can kind of set an example and pave a way for other people from different backgrounds, then so be it.
I was going to ask, obviously you've got your goal of becoming the first Black Irish world champion. Leading into where you're currently at right now, what type of trials and tribulations did you face that somebody on the outside may not necessarily know, that you're potentially able just to share a bit of an insight?
To get to this stage?
To get to this particular level.
Listen, everyone has their own background and problems and whatever else goes in life. Obviously, I think everybody knows that I got stabbed 5 years ago. So yeah, it's obviously been an uphill battle for me since then, and I've faced adversity and stuff like that, but thankfully I'm still here, and yeah, I'm just out here trying to achieve my dreams and create a legacy for myself.
I've seen that obviously you say you're from Northern Ireland, and do you have plans for a big homecoming one day, maybe whether it is as champion or as a contender? And if so, what stadiums or what arenas would you want it to be in?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to go back home and fight and in Belfast, that's always been my dream. Mm-hmm. I've only fought back in Belfast once as a professional, which was very early on in my career. But yeah, I think the plan is to go back next year. I hope to have fought in Belfast this year and start building this year. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened. But the plan is to go back next year and start headlining shows and grow my fan base back home. In terms of stadiums and arenas and stuff like that, I think it would be suitable to start off in somewhere like the Odyssey, the greats like Cardiff-Frampton and Ryan Burnett and stuff have had headline shows there. But for me, my dream is to headline and fight for a world title in Casement Park. It's a GAA ground, a Gaelic ground.
Nice.
Where I spent my childhood going and watching Gaelic games or hurling games there. So for me, that would be a very special moment in my career, and it's actually just getting rebuilt at the moment. So I think by the time that I'll be able to fight for a world title, it'll be perfect timing to go back and headline shows there. Whether it's I win a world title there or I bring the homecoming there to defend, that's my plans, and I think I'll do so.
Nice. Well, we'll put it out there, Eddie. I hope you're listening. Hope you're tuning in. Everyone wants that, so let's make that happen. Odyssey.
Yeah.
I was going to say, obviously, yourselves now fight at Super Welterweight. What was the decision behind that? Is it just a case of that you felt more naturally comfortable fighting there, or what was the thinking behind going to Super Welterweight?
It's been one of them ones that I've been hemming and hawing about since the start of my career. The reason I didn't move down at the start of my career is because I didn't believe that I would be able to make it comfortably, and I didn't believe that I would be able to perform as well as I could at the weight. I didn't want to put my body under any stress. I remember having to make welterweight in the amateurs, which is, I think, 2 pounds just lighter than in the pros. And I used to struggle to make that, but you had to weigh in every single day in competitions and stuff like that. So I didn't want to do that in the pros and put my body under a lot of stress. But then I was making the middleweight limit a bit too easy. So yeah, Eddie Hearn came up to me after my 11th fight, and he said to me about making 154 and why don't we give it a try. I never shy away from a challenge, so I said why not, and thankfully I made it easily, and yeah, I think this is what I'll campaign for a while, at least until I win a world title, and then I'll move back up to middleweight.
Nice. Is it a case of you purposely stay near the weight, or is it just naturally your body's near middle and super welterweight anyway?
No, I wish my body sat naturally. Yeah, no. Listen, I got a bit of weight to shift. Nothing major, but yeah, I'll probably sit super middle, like between super middle and light heavy.
Well,
but
not too bad.
Yeah, the weight flies off me when I start camping, when I start dieting. Like I said, I didn't think I'd be able to make super welterweight easy as I did. But for that last fight, my first time making it, I had 3 meals the day before my weigh-in. Oh, wow. I made it so comfortably. So I didn't have to do no training the day of, no hot baths, no nothing like that. So I do it like a true professional. Listen, if you cut corners, I mean, you're not going to do it properly. I employed a nutritionist, and we've run the numbers and whatever else, and I just follow the plan that he gives me, and I made it professionally.
Nice. There must be some fighters that are fuming hearing 3 meals a day before.
I know. Listen, when I say 3 meals a day, it wasn't no big meals. It was salmon.
No, of course,
but It's better than nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've cut weight before, and I remember just eating only blueberries, just getting angry at seeing my friends eat meals. So yeah, we're gonna touch on that later on through our quickfire round. But what is your go-to snacks for when you're out of camp? Then,
when I'm out of camp,
yeah,
my go-to snacks. Do you know what? I think a white Twix.
Okay, yeah.
A white Twix. They're banging. If you ain't tried one, try one. They're banging.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I normally get that in
white
milkshake
chocolate in general. I don't know how I feel about white chocolate in general.
Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, I've got a sweet tooth and I love chocolate. So white chocolate, I don't mind it. But yeah, white Twix is banging.
Getting a milkshake, Abbas, try it.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. You know what? Next time I'm out in Liverpool, I'll go get a milkshake. I do want to just touch on something you talk about with the weight cut and stuff and how you cut weight healthy. I guess when it comes to a weight cut in a healthy way, what is considered that for you? Like, how many pounds is it per day? How do you go about, without detailing, I guess, too much, if you can, do just talk about what's the strategy behind a healthy weight cut for yourself at 154?
Well, my nutritionist come up to Liverpool the other day, and we went to one of the universities, and we did a lot of testing to run the numbers to see how much water is in my body, how much fat, what my fat percentage is, how much muscle I hold, and then he will go back and he'll write out a plan, for me to obviously make the weight. So obviously it just depends how much water weight you're holding and stuff like that. And the first couple of weeks of camp is obviously targeting to lose body fat. You want to obviously maintain the water in your body and not drop water. You obviously drop the fat. So yeah, for me it's roughly eating, I think, 16 to 2,000 calories a day. I drink 5 liters of water a day, and yeah, my weight just gradually comes down over the weeks. And yeah, just obviously I think I normally drop roughly 2 to 3 pounds a week.
Okay, that's nice.
Now I know how to lose weight if I want to do it.
I was gonna say, speaking of them, because you're going, well, you've got a WBA international belt. Is that the set route that you want to go title wise down the WBA route, or are you also eyeing up any other governing bodies?
I think in terms of world titles, I always said that the first title that I pick up in terms of the governing bodies, I'd want to win a world title. So I want to win a world title first in the win a WBA title, but I'd love to pick up a couple titles along the way. I'd love to fight for maybe a WBC.
The green strap,
I'm not too sure about the IBF unless it would be for a world title, just because of the £10 restriction in the next day and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, for me, my plan over the next kind of 12 to 18 months is to keep moving up the rankings. I want to pick up a European title towards the end of next year and then start challenging for world titles.
Nice, because I've seen, obviously you got Jermell Charlo. Well, we can maybe discuss some of the fighters in your division, like what you think of them. So obviously you got Jermell Charlo, undisputed earlier on this year. People that are listeners know that I'm a big Charlo Twins fan. So I was gonna say, if you did watch the fight, what was your opinion on Jermell Charlo's fight and him as a fighter?
Yeah, I think Jermell Charlo's a solid fighter. He's very, very good. Not only is he technically good, but he carries power in both hands. I rate Charlo very highly, but I don't see him staying around the 154 division for much longer. I think he's fighting Tim Tszyu in January, is it?
Yeah, early next year. I don't understand the logistics behind that, but yeah, early next year he's going to be fighting Tim Tszyu, yeah. So
I think he's fighting Tim Tszyu, and I think if he comes through that, I could see him vacating and moving up. You got to remember as well that he's achieved everything that he possibly could in the 154 division. But as well as that, when you've got all the belts, you have to pay 11% sanctioning fees. So he's not going to want to keep doing that and defending. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that he'll move up, and then the belts will scatter.
Yeah, I'm not Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, and by that time, hopefully, I'm in a great position to challenge for world titles.
And then you've also got Danny Garcia, I've seen in the WBA mix as well. So I was actually in New York for that fight. What is your sense of him? Because obviously he was a welterweight, well, light welterweight titleist, then a welterweight titleist. Now he's come up. He looked decent, but I know he's been seen as quite small for the division. What do you think of Danny?
Danny's a solid fighter as well. Obviously, he carried the par at light welterweight and welterweight. I'm not too sure if he's going to carry that up to 154. I mean, listen, someone like Danny makes the division exciting, and that's definitely a fight that I would entertain in a year's time. It'd definitely be a good name for me to test myself against, and someone that's been a proven world champion. Obviously not at 154, but in previous weights. But yeah, I think Danny's a solid fighter. I mean, he's getting on at the moment. I think he must be early 30s. So he's probably not got long left in the game. And yeah, he's a good fighter.
I was going to say, sticking on that with your 12 to 18 month plan, is there any particular fighters you look at? I know you touched on being European champion. Is there any particular fighters that you look at and think, hopefully that should be my next guy? Or is it a case of you just sit with Eddie and you go along with it with the options that come along?
The options that come along, I don't go around calling out fighters. I actually don't look at the division and say I want him or him. I couldn't tell you who's other than Charlo and a couple, maybe 4 or 5 names. I actually couldn't tell you who's in the division. I'll focus on myself. I don't look at. I'm not in competition with anybody else. I'm trying to better myself, and the only time I'll be in a competition with someone else is whenever they're standing right in front of me in that squared circle. But yeah, it's whoever Eddie and my team put in front of me, I'm ready to fight. I don't look at it and be like, yeah, I want him or him. They ring me, say, what do you think about this opponent? I'll say yes.
Speaking of then, last opponents against Lukasz Maciec, I hope he pronounced his name right. You outpointed him. How did you feel in that fight? Obviously, that was super welterweight, shall I say? How did you feel during that fight? Was it just a case of, all right, cool, I feel smooth, I feel like I'm just getting used to fighting at this weight class, or was it business as usual?
Yeah, I think against Maciec, I kind of was too cautious on the weight cut, and even though I knew I made it comfortably and there was no struggles, I think because it was my first time at 154, I didn't want to empty the tank and kind of gas late. As well as that, I had a lot of kind of issues with knowing that I was going to leave the gym and stuff like that. So there was a lot of things going on. There was a lot of things going on in my mind that, like, no one knows fight week. I only had 10 hours sleep from the Monday to the Friday, and I've got to make weight. I've got to, do all the media obligations and stuff like that. So I think it played a part in the fight. I still think it was a good performance, but I think Caoimhin Agyarko at 100% stops Maciec in 5 rounds. I think you've seen that. I heard him a lot in that fight, and I just didn't step on the pedal because of whatever it may be. Maybe it was because of the weight. Maybe it was because I had stuff going on in the background. But that was a lesson. I know that I was fit for the 10 rounds, and I know that I had a lot more in the tank to give. So I think we'll see that in my next fight.
Do you have a date for your next fight? Is there an event that's out there that we know of that the fight's going to be on? Is it just more tight-lipped? You can't.
Tight-lipped. It'll be. It's been discussed for the end of October, start of November.
Okay.
So
okay.
The card should be announced this week. I think the headline anyway.
Brilliant.
I was just going to say, you mentioned October. There's a fight happening at catchweight in October that I'd like to get your opinion on. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn Jr. Conor Benn, sorry. What's your opinion on that? Do you have a particular way you see the fight going, or is it a case of I'm just going to watch the fight, I'm not too fussed about it itself?
It's obviously if it makes money, it makes sense, right? And that fight makes money, and that's the only kind of reasoning I can see for it happening, because it doesn't do anything for either of their careers other than the legacy of that their dads left behind. And do you know what I mean? It can be built up, won rivals and whatever else, but other than making money, it does nothing for their careers. It's a tough fight for both fighters. I think I'll be lying if I didn't believe that the advantages lie with Chris Eubank. He's the bigger guy. He's 2 weights above. He's been in the bigger fights. He has the more experience. He should be in the peak of his career right now. I mean, mid to early 30s. So yeah, it's going to be an entertaining fight. I actually fancy Conor Benn to do a job on him. I think if Conor Benn can get past the 4 or 5 rounds, we've seen as of recent that Chris Eubank fades. So I think if he can get past 4 or 5 rounds and he can take Eubank's power, I think he's going to trouble him.
No, I was going to say then, in terms of like rivalries, so obviously that's the old school. Their fathers were the rivals. Did you have anyone coming up, whether it's the amateurs or the pros, that you look like this person's in the opposite bracket, but we're on a collision course to meet?
I think Stephen Donnelly in the amateurs was always a rival when he turned pro, and he tried to transfer that into the pros, and it just never materialized, never worked. But yeah, not really. Like I said, I don't focus on anyone. I'm not in competition, or I don't. It's not personal for me. It's strictly business. This is a sport. It's business. It's entertainment. I don't take it personal unless you make it personal, and no one's done that with me as of yet. But it's never personal for me. It's always business.
I was going to say, touching on Ray's point about rivalries and stuff, there was a fight that was meant to happen over this weekend that stemmed from the amateurs' rivalries with Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Now, being that got cancelled, firstly, I want to know your views on the fight being cancelled, because from my side of things, I don't agree with the fight being cancelled. I think we talked about it as well. It's an all-women's card. With the Queen passing, if you wanted to do a sign of respect, you've got all women's card. You've got other sports that are continuing as well. Being a pro boxer yourself, what are the implications of a fight of that magnitude being cancelled? And then I guess fighters, purses, training camps, etc. Just go into that in a bit more detail for us if you can do.
Yeah, well, boxing's not like any other sport. You got to peak at the right time. You got to manage your weight. Everything is planned out for the training camp for you to perform as best as you possibly can on the night. So, I mean, for it to be cancelled, especially last minute, messing the guards about on the weigh-in day, saying the weigh-in's at 1, it's at 3, so on, and then to go and cancel it's a bit of a joke. I don't think it should have been cancelled. I disagree with that, or postponed. I disagree with that because, like you say, you got 3 or 4 fighters coming from America that have to climatize to certain time zones, and obviously you got to manage your weight right and stuff like that. And not even that, but mentally you prepare yourself for battle. You put yourself in a mental position to be ready throughout camp. It's just, you can't just go. It takes a lot of mental strength to get yourself psyched up again for if it's been put back a week or whatnot. Do you know what I mean? So I think the guards have been hard done by there. I really felt for them, especially anyone that's kind of struggling with weight. But yeah, I don't agree with them postponing it because, like I say, you set a training camp out to peak at a certain time.
What I wanted to add to that is, so I've seen a lot of, well, I try not to indulge in it too much, but I've seen a lot of battle on the timeline regarding that because there's a lot of people that, let's say casuals, I know sometimes it's seen as a bad word, but it is what it is. A lot of casuals that would be like, I don't see what's the big deal, just postpone it. But like you said, boxers aren't like footballers where it's just like they're going to get paid this week regardless, and then you move on. And I remember I was speaking to a troll. Well, I wasn't speaking to a troll. I was telling him it's different by just telling the boxer, just postpone it, because I likened it to saying, I want you to go work a month. Then at the end of the month, they say, by the way, you're not getting paid. And then work the next month and say, by the way, you're going to get the same pay that you was due the previous month. So if you can break down to people what some of the expenses that comes with being a professional boxer, because I think a lot of people don't actually take into consideration I think they see the AJs and they see the 1% and think, because he's getting paid millions, everyone gets paid millions. But I know it's not like that. So can you break down, I guess, some of the cost that you incur having to be a professional boxer and repercussions of postponement?
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get, unless you've got good sponsorship coming in, fighters don't get paid until they fight. And training camps cost a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? You got to pay for strength conditioning, you got to pay for your meals, nutritionists, flights, accommodations, and so on. Do you know what I mean? It literally costs thousands and thousands of pounds. So for it to be postponed, one, it's just going to cost you more money, and two, obviously we've spoke about what it does in terms of mentally preparing yourself and peaking at the right time. But yeah, it's not like any other sport where a footballer, he's getting paid, he's on a contract to get 200 grand a week or 100 grand a week. Fighters get paid whenever they fight. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's listen, you get trolls that come on and they don't understand the sport. They just speak for the sake of speaking, and without actually having an understanding of how the sport is run and what kind of effects it has on the fighters. You know what I mean? Financially, it's very tough on fighters, and for it to be postponed, it's just costing them more money.
Yeah, I can't imagine, because I get frustrated. I'm not even a boxer, because I'm just thinking is like the lack of empathy sometimes. It must be frustrating and easy just to, like, I guess, turn off your phone and be like, I'm not even going to entertain this because I'm going to get pissed off having to explain this for the umpteenth time to. How do you deal with that as well? So I'm sure certain times when you've had a good performance, all these fans are on your side. I always say, for me, there's a difference between fans and supporters. I feel like supporters are the people that's really invested in you, and like win, lose or draw, they're behind you. And then you've got fans that can be, one day they're on your side, and then maybe on the performance that you might even still get the win, but they might not have liked your win. So all of a sudden, it's he's a bum, he's this, that, and a third. How do you deal with that? Or do you deal with that?
I just cancel out the noise. I mean, opinions are like arseholes, everyone's got one. Do you know what I mean? So for me, obviously, I read the comments. I read them to see what people are saying, but I don't retaliate.
Yeah.
I don't retaliate. I don't give them the time of day. I don't give them that time to sit and argue, because I know that what I'm doing, I know what it's a bad performance. A lot of people like to be critical of you, but never walked a day in your shoes. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and they never could. So, yeah, do you know what? There's sometimes I post controversial stuff on social media, or I post something on social media or after a fight, and I get trolls that come on and they're slating me, but I just don't retaliate, because it affects them more. That's what they want. They want you to retaliate. So thankfully, I'm somebody that's got thick skin, and I don't let the negative comments get to me. Obviously, it's not nice seeing, but it really doesn't bother me. That's why I know certain fighters really kind of take it in and let it affect them. But for me, I don't really care. It's one of them things. Unless you're in my team, unless you're a close friend, family, or somebody that I respect their opinion, I don't care what someone has to say about me.
Nice.
I was going to ask then, with Anthony Joshua and with his previous and his last fight with Oleksandr Usyk, I wanted your opinion on how you saw the fight, but also, I guess, post-fight as well, because we saw the outburst, and I think that probably garnered a lot more attention online and took away from his performance, in my opinion. And I wanted to hear your opinion on, firstly, Joshua right now, as in his legacy and stuff like that, but also, I guess, the fight as well.
Well, Joshua and his legacy. Listen, Joshua's did great things in the sport of boxing. To anyone that criticizes Anthony Joshua's boxing ability or him as a fighter, they don't really know anything about boxing. It's as simple as that, because you don't become a world silver medalist and Olympic champion in the amateurs to then go and win everything other than I don't think he won a European title.
WBC,
or WBC, but I mean everything in professional boxing that he possibly can. He become a 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world, and you're going to tell me that he's shit, he's crap. Okay, like that just shows you don't know anything about the sport. So for Anthony Joshua, he's created a legacy, and he'll go down in the history books as one of the greatest fighters to ever come out of England. Do you know what I mean? So, but on his performance, I think it was a better performance than the first fight, though I still feel like he got the tactics wrong. Against someone like Usyk, you just have to be a dog. You have to lay it all on the line. You're the bigger man. You're the bigger puncher. You have to go for the kill. And if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. If you gas out, you gas out. You prepare yourself for that. But you can't go into a fight and try and outbox the boxer. You can't do that. And a master like Usyk, someone who's one fighter, him and Vasyl Lomachenko, you don't get them fighters every generation. So I think the tactics were still wrong, though I feel like he did put up a better fight than the first fight. And then obviously the outburst. You're very emotional after a fight, whether you win or lose. You're very emotional. And obviously you could see that. I think he regrets it now, but he probably just needed to let off a bit of steam. But there's a time and place for that. I feel like someone on his team should have took charge, should have stepped in and took control of the situation, took the mic off him. Whether he lays hands on you or not, you know you're doing the right thing by saving him the embarrassment of what's going to happen and repercussions of social media the next day. But yeah, I just feel like he said what he said and he did it in the moment. A lot of adrenaline going through his body, and obviously he was very emotional after taking another loss, back-to-back defeats. But I feel like someone on his team should have stepped in and took control of the situation.
No, I was gonna say, well, I had an instant reaction on the channel regarding that because I was just like, no, because I was just like, at the end of the day, I can't imagine how it must feel having to be PR-wise the guy that you get all these people speaking on you, and then you just always have to be quiet and you can't respond, especially when it comes from people in big publications. It's one thing of trolls doing it, and then you've seen publications of like journalists that you probably know thinking, wait, why are you speaking on me like this? Like, I know you, like, we've never spoke like this. So I guess in regards to that outburst, can you somewhat describe the adrenaline rush after a fight to people, just so they can, get an understanding? We're not, like I said in the reaction as well, it's not condoning what he done, but it's more like people, very few people can understand it. And especially for me, I know people that work in 9 to 5, you don't even like it when you hear your colleague speaking of you, let alone, you know, all these public people speaking of you. So can you speak on, I guess, just after a fight, the adrenaline rush that you might have going in you, and how the emotional control that you have to have, like, I guess, during the fight, post-fight, and then the come down after that, like maybe the day or two after?
Yeah, well, the thing that people forget about professional boxers is that we're just regular people like everybody else. Do you know what I mean? I like to describe, everyone kind of says to me, oh, you're famous and you're a celebrity. And I say, I'm not. I'm just someone that does very well their job that's in the public eye. It's like you being very, very good at stacking shelves, but it's not in the public eye. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's something that comes with the sport. And yeah, listen, it's very hard in a moment, in a big event like that, where it's all on the line. You've not won your titles back. The adrenaline's going through your body. You're upset. You're hurt. You've just lost. You're very emotional. Do you know what I mean? So you're gonna act different. You're gonna say things you don't mean. You're gonna retaliate to certain things, and obviously, then you're thinking of all the bad stuff people have said about you and stuff like that. So it's all like hitting you at once, and he literally, you know what I mean? It was always going to happen. But yeah, I feel like it was an unfortunate situation for AJ, and obviously he's probably living to regret it now. But he's you know what I mean? He's just like everybody else, and it's just one of them things where it's very hard to control your emotions in that moment.
So what I am conscious of time. So what I do want to do before we wrap up everything is get to know you outside of boxing with a little quick fire round. What are your favorite things and stuff like that? So first thing we have to go to is favorite cheat meal. The full works. What favorite cheat day? What's a full cheat day for you? Not a meal, a full cheat day.
Do you know what? I live off Nando's. Nando's is my favorite food. Nando's is my favorite food. But I feel like Nando's is too clean to have a cheat meal. So I love like an Indian or Italian. So I would normally go for like an Italian with my friends, and then I love ice cream. So I'll go get maybe an ice cream and some crisps and chocolate.
Let's just go straight into it. What's the Nando's order there?
Oh, then that it always changes, but as of recent, it's been butterfried chicken, chips, rice, peas, and garlic bread. Some halloumi as well.
Right, go for the triple carb.
You got. But see, what I do is I use the garlic bread. So I put the chicken inside it as a garlic bread burger.
Oh yeah.
So
this is one that might take a bit more time. 3 people you would like to host a dinner party with? Boxers, anybody.
Oh, that's a tough one. 3 people. I'm gonna go Floyd Mayweather. I'm gonna give you 4. Floyd Mayweather, Jay-Z, Kevin Hart, and Denzel Washington.
Okay.
Oh, that is a different array. I like that. Okay, speaking of music, then since you went with Jay-Z, what is the type of music you listen to backstage getting into a fight?
It's a lot of rap, R&B, like grime, hip hop, commercial. Just it's a mixture, but a lot of probably American rap or UK grime.
Yeah. What is a guilty pleasure song of yours that people might not know? What's like I'll say mine is like NSYNC. People know I like to listen to NSYNC. What is a guilty pleasure like song or music do you listen to?
Jermell Kennedy. I'm not sure if you know who Jermell Kennedy is, but he's an Irish singer. So, or the Wolf Tones.
Okay.
PlayStation or Xbox or neither?
PlayStation. I got PS5. Comes everywhere with me. No matter where I go, it's got to come with me. Other than holiday where I can just relax, but my PS5 comes everywhere.
So, what games on PlayStation do you play right now?
Call of Duty or
FIFA. Okay, cool.
Celtics fan, aren't you? I remember now.
I'm a United and Celtic, yeah.
Okay, sorry about the United, but yeah.
No who do you support? Arsenal?
No, do you know what? It is bad. I'm known as a troll because I used to support United. I used to.
Right, okay.
And then I got more into boxing MMA when I was younger, so I stopped following football as much. So I'm bad because whenever in my group chat, they're going to watch this and going to throw insults at me. Whoever loses, I get onto them. That's what happens. Okay. I apologize.
Okay. United's doing well at the moment. Well, the last 4 games. Was. But yeah.
They'll hopefully get back to their glory of the old days. So, yeah.
Hopefully.
KFC or McDonald's?
Ooh.
Or Burger King. Let's put Burger King in there as well. Just put all 3.
Does 5 lads count? Does 5 lads count now? Because I know the price range is a bit just above.
Yeah. No, I'll keep 5 guys out, but I'd say McDonald's. It's a tough one. I think you have to be in the mood for KFC. McDonald's, I could just eat. I would eat if I've got like a hangover, and then a Burger King, I think, is only acceptable if you're in an airport.
Okay. Oh, I want to say this quick one as well. Obviously, your surname's Agyarko. Obviously, Ghanaian descent. I'm of Ghanaian descent. The name's Raven Asari. Okay. So I was gonna say, are you connected much to, I guess, your Ghanaian side, and do you go back to Ghana much, or? I'm
not as much as I would like to be. I've never been to Ghana. I was meant to go this year in December with my dad and my sister, but unfortunately we've had to postpone that. Yeah. But it's something that I want to learn about the culture more, and I want to go and see where my dad's from and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice. Is that Accra, or do you know what part?
Yeah, Accra.
Are you Ashanti then, or? Okay. Shout my people, Ashanti people, we're
here. Go on, Ray. Any more quick ones that you could think?
Dream car. I know you just purchased the car not too long ago, but what's the one where you're like, do you know what? If I get this one, like no one can talk to me no more.
I can sleep in this car and I'm happy as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Okay, so growing up, I always said an Audi R8 Spider was my dream car. But I think for the money that you'd pay for one of them, I could get like a Lamborghini or I think right now it'd be either a G-Wagon or a Lamborghini truck.
Okay. Oh, G-Wagon, that's on my list as well. Yeah. And then you said you're into grind. Is there any like particular grandmas that you're into or grand battle that you might have wanted to see or that you've seen that you're saying that's your favorite?
No one can go at Chip. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
No one can go at Chip.
Yes. I hear that.
No one can go at Chip. Yeah, no one can go at Chip. But I think I would have liked to seen a reply from Stormzy.
Yeah.
Whenever him and Chip were going at it, but I think, yeah, I mean, Chip or Whitey maybe.
Okay. I like that.
Dream holiday destination.
Ooh, that's a tough one, you know.
So when I mean that is, so if you could get a house there as well, where you have like a permanent house set up there, where would that be?
I could have a permanent house.
Holiday.
It would have to be somewhere in the States, wouldn't it? Somewhere in America, maybe LA or Vegas. Somewhere that's always sunny and nice weather. But dream, that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to think, but I'm gonna have to go with LA.
I'm with you in LA. I would say the exact same thing. We've got the Lakers, we've got the Rams. I can go watch sports there. It's got the it is the Staples Arena, but it's called Crypto now. But so I'm
the
legendary Staples. Yeah. Speaking of destination, when you go Ghana, maybe get back to us when you go there and enjoy it. Because I was just there last April. My family got a house there in Accra. Trust me, that's beautiful destination, beautiful beaches, food, women, etc. So
yeah,
I'm sure you're going to be doing that this soon.
Yeah, my sister went last year for the first time, and she said it was unbelievable. So
yeah,
it's definitely on my list to do, and it's somewhere I want to go and explore, and obviously learn about my culture and where my dad's from, and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll get back to you definitely.
Nice one.
I think before we wrap up, then I do want to ask one question: best fight you've ever watched, or top 3 fights of all time for you?
Ooh,
let's go top 3. Let's go top 3 any order.
Top 3 any in terms of like live or just any?
Yeah, just any.
Any top 3 fight that you can recall watching in the childhood, now, whatever it is for yourself.
I think probably just be the classics like Toro Gatti, Ward, Corrales. I want to go with one live. Johnny Garton versus Gary Cacourn, because I made my debut. That was an unbelievable fight. And then, not my last fight, the fight before, Wood versus Michael Conor. That was an unbelievable fight.
Yes.
To be there live at that was unbelievable. So yeah.
I think I'm good. Have you got any other questions?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I just want to say, like, thank you once again. Obviously, we saw the tweet, and then listen, man, you've been perfect, gent. Like, this handling this and being able to get in contact with you. So I appreciate it for the time and everything and the effort. And I hope you enjoyed the chat.
No, definitely. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. It's been great speaking to you both.
I was just going to say, if people do want to get in contact with you and like have an opportunity like we have, where's the best place they can do social media, email, anything like that? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, just over on Twitter via DM or on my Instagram via DM. I always reply and stuff like that. So yeah, anyone wants to get at me, just DM me.
Perfect. We'll put the links in the description as well. And yeah, Ray, any last words before yourself?
Listen, man, everyone, #StayWeighedIn. Even once again, thank you very much for your time. Everyone tune in for his fight announcement, shall I say. And we're speaking Odyssey Arena or Stadium, sorry.
So Odyssey and then for a world title, Casement Park.
Okay, so listen, Eddie, I hope you're listening. Let's make this happen. I want these fights. Northern Ireland 2023, we're going to speak into existence. So hopefully next time I speak to you will be in preparation one of those fights for either a contender fight or for a world title. So looking forward to seeing the journey.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And with that, we're going to wrap up another episode of the StayWeighedIn podcast. Caoimhin, thank you for coming on. Ray, always fun time speaking with yourselves.
Love and peace, people. Have a good week.
And there we go. Love and peace.
Perfect.